Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And with the Black Friday event has come the Tier 3 token event. This is a 6-day event where you need to do some very easy missions to get 50 tokens per day, which means you have a chance to get a total of 300 of the Black Friday Tier 3 event tokens. Why are they called Tier 3 event tokens? Well, they have a 3 on the token, but if you go into the event shop, you can trade it in for a Tier 3 ticket. Let's go, baby. So very, very exciting. Really good stuff. There's 22 options this time around for this Tier 3 selector. So I wanted to rank all of them from 22nd all the way to number 1, knowing what we know about Tier 4s and new uniforms, etc. To give you a very brief opinion on the rest of the rewards, because if you calculate it, you get a total of 50 tokens. There's 6 days. That means you can get 300 tokens. So you can pick up the Tier 3 selector and 80 CCF. And 100 energy. It's a very, very, very good event. For those of you who have all the Tier 3s on the list, fear not, you can still get 1,000 energy, 6 million gold, and some other stuff. So it's very, very good for everyone. But by and large, you're going to be focusing on the Tier 3 selector. So let's get into it. These are the 22 characters you can choose from. There's a lot of good options here. There's some, rarer characters with the X genes and stuff like that. So let's start the list off and rank them from 22 down to number 1. And I'm going to go over to my character menu to show you the character, but just believe me when I say that they're on this list. Okay, take a look at this list, memorize it, because we're going to go away from this list. I don't want to be on that list for the next 10 minutes talking about this. So I'm going to go over here and go through my characters because I have them all built up anyways to show you. So coming in at number 22, no surprise here, Winter Soldier, one of the worst characters in the game at Tier 3, to be honest. He got a terrible rework last year for Captain America, or Captain Falcon of the Winter Soldier, and the devs never really did anything else for him. That's sort of the harsh truth here. He's a leadership. That's essentially all he's good for, is a physical damage leadership. Likewise, we have Cyclops at number 21. I think a lot of people still overvalue Cyclops because of his leadership / support. Now, his leadership is only 5% better attack than a standard 30% physical or energy attack lead. The 25% defense is nice, but really you're getting him, you're investing in him because he can give you up to, 15-30% energy attack for allies that use energy attack as a passive. But I see people pairing up Cyclops with Captain America or Moon Knight and thinking that he's a support. Oh, my sweet summer child, he is certainly not a support for those characters at all. So he's a conditional support, and frankly, the 15 to 30% energy attack is not that useful. It's nice, it's certainly nice to have, but at this point in time, I think it's very much overshadowed by way better supports, and we have enough supports nowadays. This isn't like a year ago where we were desperate for supports. We have so many more supports now, so Cyclops' value in my mind is very, very, very small. Coming up next, where are they, is Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel at number 20. This might be a little bit of an undervalue of this character. I know she has the flexibility of being turned into a villain. I know she has the possibility of getting tier 4 with the Marvels TV show. However, besides that, you're basically just taking a flyer on the character. She's really not going to give you very much. I know we're short on universal female heroes. Trust me, it's a very hard fought for niche category. But I just don't think Captain Marvel is really worth it unless you have almost everyone else on this list. Coming in at number 19, this actually might be a little bit of an undervalue, is War Machine. He might actually deserve to be higher because he is the definition of a much better support. Not only does he give the 30% physical attack to all allies, but then he gives all machine allies 40% attack, 40% defense, and 30% HP. Now that's what I call a support passive. That's some spicy meatballs, and that's going to apply to, Iron Man. It's going to apply to Riri Williams. There's quite a few machine types that it will now apply to, which is always very nice, and it has some relevance for PvP game modes because of the 40% defense and the 30% HP. And as far as being a character, although War Machine is outshined by a lot of other characters, his latest uniform is very good as an optional. So it'd be nice to have him tier 3 if you already bought the uniform just to use as an optional, because then you can actually have the character and use him in content. Coming in at number 18 is Vision. Yeah, some people might think he's a little bit higher. He deserves to be a little bit higher. He's okay. He's just kind of hard to play. He's kind of hard to proc with, and he just doesn't do that much damage. Just a little bit finicky. I know he's got a great leadership for Scarlet Witch, and that's essentially all he's good for. A 20% lead at this point is very, very low, so I wouldn't even consider him a good leadership for other characters just because that's such a low amount. Honestly, his PvP presence might be more relevant at this point than his PvE presence. He's not terrible for PvP in very low leagues against easier opponents, but yeah, I still only rank him number 18. Number 17, he's fallen a lot, but I think he's still decent. Ghost Rider. Now, Ghost Rider should be higher on this list as far as the damage that he does. I'll explain why when I get to those other characters, but essentially, Ghost Rider has fallen off compared to other characters. He's always waiting in the wings just around the corner because of how good of a rework he got, paired with the fact that his passive is insane. He still is one of the few characters without a heal, so you're always going to have to figure out how to play him without taking damage or use a healing support or healing striker. But I do still think he's good, and he is a universal hero, so he does give you some options in an otherwise pretty empty class outside of like very expensive native tier 2s and stuff like that. Coming in at number 16, this one, again, I might be undervaluing him a little bit, but it will make sense in the future in a little bit. We have Captain America Sam Wilson. Very high DPS still, very good tier 3, like lots of iframes, good healing, kind of quirky to play, but very fun. And can still keep up with characters that were released almost a year later, like Hawkeye. Doesn't compete with Shuri and Miss Marvel, for sure, but definitely not terrible by any means, and you know, definitely a solid option in a speed class that has been largely neglected, especially in the tier 4 category. But yeah, that's sort of just what it is. Here is where, when we get into the top 15, here is where it starts to make sense why I put Captain America Sam Wilson so low. So we're going to start number 15 off with Daredevil, but I'm going to let you know ahead of time that Ant-Man is 14. So Daredevil and Ant-Man are 15 and 14. You're probably wondering yourself, Alex, why would you do that? Ant-Man's terrible, and Daredevil only has PvP value. Surely Sam Wilson's better than those two. Oh, he absolutely is. The thing that those other characters have on Sam Wilson is the MCU. Ant-Man is surely getting a uniform and a tier 4 with Quantumania in just a few months. So you could see using this tier 3 selector now, and that's why he's number 13, or sorry, 14. You could see this as an opportunity to basically just plan ahead and build ahead. Not everyone's going to like that option, but it is an option, and it's why I'm putting him at 14. In the case of Daredevil, same sort of thing. He's already been in She-Hulk, so he could randomly get a She-Hulk uniform at any time between now and whenever. But we also know he's going to be in future MCU projects. We know Daredevil Born Again is being produced right now for Disney+, so he's in the pipeline for sure. I know that he's in the pipeline with whatever, Captain America New World Order. I do know that, but the TV shows tend to hit us faster than the full-length movies. I believe this was upgraded from a TV show to a movie, but I might, or was it a movie to a TV show? I can't remember. So they're all ranked similarly. I wouldn't stress about it too much, but that is why I ranked them the way that I ranked them. Speaking of which, coming in at number 13, we have Black Panther. And similarly to Ant-Man, it's just in the hopes that he gets a uniform, because right now he is just not good. And there's also way better combat types. So that's why he's at number 13. Crossing my fingers for him. Don't want to dwell too much on it, but yeah. Coming in at number 12, we have Black Bolt. Now, Black Bolt can be much higher on this list for you. I would say Black Bolt is a top 3 option if you bought this uniform. But I don't know if you bought the uniform, so I can't rank him as if you bought the uniform and then explain to you. I'd rather do it this way. So I'm ranking Black Bolt number 12, right in the middle, which means if you don't have his uniform, he probably drops to the bottom. He's not good without the uniform. However, if you do have this uniform, he's top 3. Go ahead, go for it. It's really that simple, but it really all depends on whether you bought this uniform or not, and there's really no other way to gauge it. Coming in at number 11, similarly to Black Bolt, we have Storm. Storm gets a little bit more value because she has support options, she has just support passives, and also she's in a much rarer category being a mutant. But again, her value and her ranking depends on whether or not you bought this uniform. If you bought this uniform, Storm is like top 5. If you didn't buy this uniform, Storm is right at the bottom. So it's difficult to rank these characters honestly without knowing your roster, but just keep that in mind for both Black Bolt and Storm. And so we come to the top 10. Sharon Rogers is number 10. Not much to say here. She'll eventually get a uniform. She's kind of out of the meta now. Struggles with GBR because although she does a lot of damage, she takes too much damage and it's hard for her to heal. But still a solid option and can still carry newer accounts through a lot of stuff and is proc friendly. Coming in at number 9, we have Spider-Man. Definitely fallen off the PvP meta, but still can hold his own as a secondary option to build around with a team with like Hulk or something like that. So he can't necessarily carry your team all the way, but he can certainly be someone who comes in and deals chip damage, takes care of specific blast types, etc. And he still has some value for PvE because the speed class has been largely ignored outside of the females. So I'm comfortable putting him here at number 9. At number 8, this one might be a bit of a shocker to you, but I'm going to put Rogue specifically because she's a mutant. Now, her value is actually less than Spider-Man at this point, but because she's a mutant and because we've been begging for mutant updates for so long and she's such a popular mutant, I would not be surprised if she got a tier 4 and she got a new uniform. Would not be surprised at all. So this one's a little bit speculative, but she's also a good alternate if you don't have Storm for things like ABL. So I'm trying to consider the game modes where you're going to need to use these characters as well, not just for future sort of speculative hoping for value. Coming in at number 7, we have Loki the Trickster. Definitely has fallen off the ABX, ABL, Dispatch, etc. Wagon with the introduction of tier 4s, but still a very solid character. Very, very strong. Loki Season 2 is in production, we know that. So it's just a matter of time before he finds himself back up at the top. The devs seem to like him with how they gave him the Synergy uniforms that are both very strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to make him strong with the coming years and the coming uniforms. From Loki, we now enter into the tier 4 era. So all of these other characters have a vast upgrade and they have a much higher ceiling than any of the other characters because they can go to tier 4. So that is something you absolutely have to consider, as well as their value for different game modes. So starting us off at number 6, I have Hulk. He may be your number 1 if you really want someone for PvP. He's obviously amazing for that, but he definitely needs an investment. He needs that level 80. He needs possibly the tier 4 to go all the way. He doesn't necessarily need it, depending on the content you want to use him in, but every bit helps for PvP, right? The more HP you have, the better. So very, very good character, but I would put him at number 6 just because we have so many combat types, and it's just so crowded at this point in time. Coming in at number 5, believe it or not, we have Black Widow, the only speed tier 4. That's basically all you have to say. Because you can take her to level 80, that increases her value tremendously. If you cannot take her to level 80, I think she's subpar, and you're much better off investing in Shuri or Miss Marvel. So just keep that distinction clear. If you can't beat World Boss Legend, you probably want to skip this tier 3 and look for some other ones on the list, like Venom. And although Hulk may represent a greater overall value to your roster, especially at tier 4, Venom is very good even if you just get him tier 3 and pick up his uniform and he's at level 70. He doesn't need anything else. He gets even better at 80 and he gets even better at tier 4 for sure, but he performs very well at level 70, and that's what I wanted to really focus on for some of these rankings, because I'm guessing a lot of players that are choosing and have the selector to choose, they need characters that are just going to work out of the box, that don't need to go clear War Boss Legend, that don't need to get their second potential, etc., whatever, pump even more tier 3s materials into them to get them to 80, so on and so forth. But yeah, Venom is at number 4. At number 3, we have Iron Man, one of the best tier 4s in the game. What can we say? Super flexible as a villain. We've basically said it all for Iron Man, but he's fantastic. Coming in at number 2, we have Thor, the best farming unit in the game for Dimension Rifts, Dispatch, etc., which makes him automatically so valuable because of how important farming is. It's often overlooked, but it's so crucial to improving your account consistently, day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. He definitely needs the level 80 and possibly the tier 4 to really shine, and he also sort of needs a rage, not necessarily a mighty, so keep that in mind. He's not really proc friendly. He's not really good with the judgment because he gets so much elemental buffs from his passives and things, but a very, very good character, and one of the few characters on this list who is very good at farming like his brother Loki. And that leaves number 1, Captain America. He's just nutty. The new uniform is probably one of the most versatile in the game, and you can basically just build him however you want. I sort of hesitated to put Captain America at number 1 because since he's the very first tier 3, I think most players already have him tier 3. I understand that, but it's just undeniable, and I cannot ignore how valuable he is. You can build him for PvE, you can build him for PvP, you can build him hybrid, you can do so many things with this character, and he's going to perform insanely well. So yeah, that's my ranking. I'll throw it up on the screen here while we talk out the outro. Hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the tier 3 selector event. Hopefully you know who you're going to get, and if you don't, this video has illuminated your options for you. Thanks so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.